Last Monday, I asked a question. Did Battlefield players stop caring about winning their matches? And I made the argument that there seems to be two different games happening inside the same Battlefield match. There's the PTFO crowd. Capture the objective, defend it, revive your teammates, resupply them, repair the tank, destroy their tank, work with your squad, bleed their tickets. You know, win the freaking match. And then there's the progression tree game. Unlock this weapon, level up that weapon, get this attachment, finish this challenge, complete this daily or weekly, earn this badge, unlock this skin, finish the battle pass. And after reading through your comments for the last week, I think there's definitely something happening here. But I also think I got part of my original argument wrong, because I kept talking about these things like they're two different games. They're not. There's Battlefield, and then there's this giant checklist sitting on top of Battlefield. And here's the part nobody really brought up in the comments. That checklist isn't holding a gun to your head. Nobody at DICE is making you finish it. EA isn't sitting behind you menacingly until you unlock that skin. Battlefield Studios isn't forcing you to spend 8 hours leveling a weapon you're probably never going to touch again. No, sir. You're doing that. Collectively, we're choosing the checklist. And if we're going to have this conversation about why players aren't playing objectives anymore, why squads aren't working together, why somebody is sitting 200 meters away farming kills while we're losing the objective, then I don't think we get to blame the progression tree without talking about the person who decided climbing that tree was way more important than playing the game. As an FYI, I'm still cooking the remaining two classifiers. They're coming up this week, so stay tuned. And if you're behind on those other two, be sure to check them out. Okay, so let's make sure we're on the same page, kiddos. Battlefield didn't suddenly invent progression. We've been grinding shit in Battlefield for almost 20 years. So maybe the game didn't change nearly as much as players want us to think it has. No, I'm suggesting maybe the player base did. Now, I want to make something very clear here before somebody runs to the comments with, oh, Hannibal thinks progression systems are bad. No, I don't. I don't mind unlocking things. I don't mind at all getting new weapons. I actually grind for new attachments. I like seeing that little notification pop up saying I completed something. Hell, I do all my dailies. Pretty much every time I log into Battlefield, I look at the 3 daily challenges. And usually I can knock out all 3 of them in one casual breakthrough match. It's a big reason I play casual. It's a warm-up and I can knock out my dailies. Or apparently if it's the weekend and everybody decided casual breakthrough was where the fucking Olympics were being held, but that's basically my warm-up. I get my dailies done. Oh, after I finish my dailies, now I'm playing Battlefield. Everything else, if it happens, it happens. I'll unlock the weapon when I unlock the weapon. I'll get the attachment when I get the attachment. I'll earn the badge when I earn the badge. I'm already participating in the progression system simply by playing the game. I don't need to turn the entire game into a job so I can progress through it faster. And here's why I have a problem blaming developers for this. Because none of this is particularly new. Go back to Battlefield 3. You wanted to level weapons and grind attachments? Operation Metro on Conquest is where you went. Everybody knew what Metro was. It's a fucking meat grinder. Throw yourself into the hallway, shoot everything, die, respawn, throw yourself back into the hallway. Grenade, grenade, grenade. Oh shit, another grenade. Oh no, somebody's screaming. Nobody knows what the hell is happening. and everybody walks out of that match with a pile of XP. Then Battlefield came along and gave us not only Metro as a remaster, but Operation Locker. Same basic idea. You wanted to go grind? There's your playground. Go nuts. But here's the difference I remember. We didn't necessarily treat every Battlefield map like Metro. We didn't necessarily treat every match like Locker. When we were somewhere else, we played the fucking match. We captured the flags, held the flags, bled their tickets. If 10 guys tried stopping us from taking an objective and we killed them all, well, fuck yeah, that's awesome. But the 10 kills weren't necessarily the objective. Taking the flag was the objective. The kill streak was the bonus.
Reloading!
Now, a lot of the time it feels completely backwards. The 10 kills are now the objective. And if you accidentally capture the flag while you're doing it, cool, I guess. But what changed? Because you can't simply tell me progression. Nah, my dudes, progression has always been there. And you can't simply tell me weapon attachments. Yeah, them's were already there too. Ranks, again, already there. Unlocks, XP, skins, you see where I'm going with this, right? Okay. For those in the back, just in case you couldn't hear me before, already there. Players have decided optimizing how quickly they could get all that shit has become the name of the game. The mechanics throughout the franchise have changed. The menus have changed. The UI has changed. The number of things available has changed. But the fundamental transaction isn't particularly revolutionary. Play game, earn points, unlock things. We've been doing that for a very long time now, kiddos. So if the basic incentive existed before, but our behavior around that incentive has changed, then the incentive itself isn't enough to explain the behavior. And this is where some of the comments last week really got me thinking. Because several people pointed toward the game. Challenges don't engage objective play, the battle pass doesn't encourage objective play, the scoreboard doesn't properly recognize certain contributions, winning isn't rewarding enough, there aren't enough incentives for squad leaders. And I'm not saying any of those observations are necessarily wrong. One of you even admitted that the first thing you click when you get into the menu is challenges, just like I did. And then called yourself Pavlov, which, yeah, at least we're self-aware. Another one of you said you can knock out your weeklies in about 4 or 5 matches and then spend the rest of the week just screwing around and having fun. My only counter to that is, perhaps, but you stopped after finishing the weekly. Many players, however, just keep going, like the finish line is forever out of their sight. Somebody else admitted that sometimes they're chasing a challenge. They know it isn't necessarily helping their team. They do it anyway. And that's the part I keep coming back to. They do it anyway. Not because the game sees control of their mouse, not because DICE has disabled the objective until they completed their weekly. They made a decision. And I'm not standing over here throwing stones because I've made that decision as well from time to time. I've chased some challenges. I've said, okay, I need to go do this stupid fucking thing. We've all done it. The difference I'm interested in is what happens when that stops being something you occasionally do inside Battlefield and becomes the reason you're playing Battlefield. Because people become so preoccupied with whether they can do something that they forget to ask whether they should. And now, it's habit. You can unlock everything. Okay, should you? Or maybe more importantly, why do you need to? You can unlock every weapon. Why? You can max every weapon. Why? You can collect every badge. You can finish every challenge. You can get every skin. Why? And I'm not asking that rhetorically. If collecting everything is genuinely what you enjoy, that's fine. collect your shit. I'm not the gaming police. I'm not coming to your house and confiscating your RGB keyboard because you unlock too many weapon skins. But let's identify what's happening accurately. You're collecting. And there's nothing inherently wrong with collecting. People collect stamps, coins, baseball cards, cars, records. Hell, people collect video games they'll never actually play. But collecting something and playing something aren't necessarily the same activity. And I think that distinction matters. Because last week I said something in the comments that I keep coming back to. There's a huge difference between winning a game or match and collecting. Getting another skin isn't winning Battlefield. Unlocking another attachment isn't winning Battlefield. Finishing the battle pass isn't winning Battlefield. They're accomplishments. They're milestones. Rewards. Collections. They're basically NFTs at this point, if we're all being honest here. And if that's what you personally want to accomplish, knock yourself out. But the moment we're losing a conquest match because half the team has decided their personal checklist is more important than the shared objective, we can't turn around and blame the checklist for our decision to prioritize it.
God damn it.
And maybe the problem here is the word play. Because we throw that word around constantly. I'm going to go play Battlefield. I'm playing video games tonight. What are we playing? Sounds simple. Play is actually a weirdly complicated idea. Because people immediately associate play with fun. And obviously, fun is and can be part of this. But play and fun aren't exactly the same thing. People have been playing competitive games for thousands of years.
Come on around,
We
buddy.
compete, we challenge ourselves, we solve problems, we test patience, we learn systems, we experiment, we cooperate. We try something, fail, change something, and then try again. Sometimes we're laughing our asses off. Sometimes we're concentrating so hard that nobody in the room says a fucking word. I'm horribly guilty of this. Just ask my Discord platoon members. Sometimes we're frustrated. Sometimes we're losing. Sometimes somebody is better than us, and we spend the next hour trying to figure out why they're better than us. That's still play. When my squad loses a match where everybody was actually trying to win, I'm not sitting here thinking, well, I didn't receive enough dopamine, therefore this experience was worthless. Sometimes we just got our asses kicked. Okay. Why? What did they do? What didn't we do? Did we push too late? Did we push too soon? Did we abandon any objectives? Did we get tunnel vision? Were we reacting to them instead of making them react to us? Can we change something next match? That's playing too. Losing is information. Winning is information. Experimenting is playing. Eating is playing. Improving is playing. Screwing around with your buddies is playing. And sometimes 4 hood rats sitting in Discord talking absolute shit about attempting to capture an objective is the most entertaining part of this entire night. That's why I play. The weapon unlocked? Cool. The badge was awarded? Alright. New attachments now available? Okie dokie. Those are sprinkles on the sundae. They're not the sundae. And I think somewhere along the way, some of us started eating the sprinkles and wondering why we're still hungry. Because if your enjoyment of Battlefield requires Battlefield to constantly hand you another thing, and another thing, and another thing, and another thing, then I'm not sure the Battlefield match itself is actually what you're engaging with anymore. You're engaging with a reward loop wrapped around it. And that's where Portal becomes really interesting to me. I've had several people tell me they won't play Portal because they can't earn XP the way they want. Not, I don't like the experience you built. Not, I don't like those maps. Not, that mode isn't interesting. Not, I don't want to play with those rules. Nope. It all boiled down to, there's no XP. And every time somebody tells me that, I hear the record scratch. Because now the reward isn't supplementing the experience. The reward has become a prerequisite for the experience. And that's a very different relationship with a video game. Some might say a shallow relationship. And yeah, I'm going to stand by that. Because if an experience only has value to you when you receive some kind of reward for participating in it, you're not actually really valuing the experience. You're valuing what you can get from the experience. Those aren't the same thing. I've been disappointed with how Portal has been treated. I'd love to see more support for it. I'd love universal XP or some reasonable version of progression there. But if somebody creates an absolute kick-ass Battlefield experience and your response is, yeah, but what do I get? My answer is, you get to play it. Maybe it's awesome. Maybe it sucks. Maybe you play 3 rounds and never touch it again. Maybe it becomes something you and your buddies play every Saturday for the next 6 months. That's the experience. The experience is supposed to have value too. And before we dump this entirely on modern gamers, there's another comment from last week that complicates this. One viewer described progression leading them back into playing the game. They started working with a weapon. That weapon brought them back into breakthrough. Suddenly they're defending sectors, destroying tanks, playing engineer, PTFOing, and they're having a blast doing it. That's progression doing exactly what progression should do. It gave the player a reason to experiment. The experiment created a new experience, and the new experience became enjoyable on its own. That's the sundae and the sprinkles working together. So this isn't old Battlefield good, new Battlefield bad. It isn't progression bad. It isn't skins bad. And it sure as shit ain't nobody should grind anything. It's about priority and agency. Because there's a very convenient argument we make whenever a game gives us incentives. Well, the developers made it this way. Perhaps. Yes, indeed, they put it there. That doesn't mean you have to do it. Design can influence behavior without determining behavior. But Hannibal, these systems are deliberately psychologically designed to make players engage with them. Okay, maybe you're right. And, kiddos, advertisement is designed to make people buy shit. But that doesn't mean I have to buy it. And no, I'm not saying developers don't know exactly what they're doing when they build these systems. Of course they want us engaging with them. But what I'm saying is this. Influence and control aren't the same fucking thing. EA would probably love it if I bought every skin in the store. I'm not going to. There's a battle pass. Okay. There's a progression tree. Cool. There's weekly challenges. It's nice. There's some badges requiring me to do God knows what 400 fucking times. I still decide when I'm doing them when I log in. And I think that's the piece missing from a lot of conversations about modern gaming. The existence of an incentive doesn't eliminate player agency. If anything, the existence of multiple incentives makes your priorities more visible because now you have to choose. Do I want the challenge? Do I want the weapon? Do I want the skin? Do I want the objective? Do I want the win? Sometimes you can do all of them. Great. Sometimes you can't. And when you can't, which one wins? Because that answer tells me considerably more about player behavior than the existence of the progression tree does. One of the comments from last week accidentally demonstrated that perfectly. When he plays with his kids, they play as a squad and they win. When he's playing solo, challenge chaser. And when I asked him what happens if the challenge conflicts with the PTFO, his answer was basically, if the challenge works within the larger objective, he'll keep doing it. And if it doesn't, he bails on the challenge and goes for the win. That's it. That's player agency. Same game, same progression system, same challenges, same rewards. Different circumstances, different priority, different decision. The game didn't change those matches. The player did. So now I'm looking at last Monday's question differently. Did Battlefield players stop caring about winning their matches? Some sure as hell did, and some didn't. Some care depending on what they're doing. Some when they're playing with friends. Some stop caring when the match becomes a blowout. Some knock their challenges out first and then PTFO, like I did. Some grind everything, and some don't give a shit about progression at all. So I don't think there's a neat little box we could put everyone into, but I still think the behavior change is real. And I don't think blaming Battlefield explains it. Because we've already run the experiment. Battlefield 3 had progression, Battlefield 4 had progression. We had weapons to unlock, attachments to unlock, ranks to climb, things we wanted, and things we optimized for. And when we wanted to grind the shit out of them, we knew exactly where to go. Metro, Locker, the meat grinders, get your shit, then go play Battlefield. The progression tree didn't suddenly appear in Battlefield 6 and corrupt everybody. What's different is how much importance we assign to it. And maybe part of that comes from a larger gaming culture. Maybe some comes from completionism, or social media, or from developers getting extremely good at designing reward loops. Or it's battle pass culture. Or maybe it comes from impatience. Maybe it's all of that. But whatever external influence we identify, eventually we arrive at the same uncomfortable little bastard sitting in the middle of all of it. Choice. You still clicked the challenges, you still decided you needed the skin, you still decided you needed every attachment, you still decided the badge mattered, you still decided the weapon needed to be maxed out. And you can also decide, nah, I'm gonna go play Battlefield. And that's why the question I asked last week still hasn't been answered. I asked, once you finish the tree, then what? And nobody really answered me. Because if the reason we're playing is to unlock the next weapon, and then you unlock it, you need another weapon, then another attachment, another skin, another badge, another battle pass, another season, another level, another checklist. Because the previous reward can't give you a reason to keep playing anymore. You already have it. But if the reason you're playing Battlefield is because you enjoy playing Battlefield, you never run out. The match itself changes. Different teams, different opponents, different fighting engagements, different stupid decisions, different victories, different losses, different moments where you somehow survive something that absolutely should have deleted your character. The progression system can make all of that better. It can give you something to work toward. It can push you toward a weapon you haven't tried. It can introduce you to a class you've ignored. It can give you a little milestone after a good night of playing. It can even give you a reason to try a mode you swore on a stack of Bibles you'd never touch. Sprinkles. And I like sprinkles. But I didn't order a bowl of fucking sprinkles. I ordered the sundae. So maybe the question isn't whether Battlefield players stop caring about winning. And maybe it isn't whether developers stop rewarding us enough for winning. Maybe the question is much simpler. When did playing the game stop being enough reason to play the game? Because Battlefield didn't make that decision for us. We did. Hey, you made it to the end. You made a choice to stick around. Now here's another choice for you. Comment or no comment? I'm looking for engagement level viewers who want to add their 2 cents into the conversation. So here we go. What do you think? I don't see much difference between the grind in previous Battlefields compared to Battlefield 6, other than the packaging. Do you? Are you a game first, digital reward second, or are you progression is Battlefield kind of player? Comment, folks. Let's have them. And for those who decided to stick around long enough, I thank you so very much for watching.
Shut down here.
Till the next one.